All right, here we go. Putting another week in the books. Things are happening quickly. Time flies when you're having fun. We're having an awful lot of fun here over on Damon Bruce Plus. Welcome back to the Plus. So many of you gather early. Love seeing that. It is good having you here. And today's a day where we're just going to kind of cobble together, go over some of the bigger stories of the week and a few things that slipped through the cracks that are certainly worth getting to before it's all said and done. Obviously, we got the NBA Finals continuing. That's fun. I like that. We had a Stanley Cup Finals come back to life last night. I like that. I hope that you do too. We got stuff getting into, and this team just happens to be in town, and I'm going to go and see the Cubs for the first time in a long time. It's been a long time since I've been to a Chicago Cubs game. They're in the park tonight taking on the Giants, so I'm heading on out, and it should be a good one. Jack home sick from school today, so we're going to keep this one a little bit briefer because I got to get on some childcare duty before I get out and get my pass to go out tonight from Mrs. Plus, who has been more than accommodating. So, look, we have an awful lot to get into and not that much time to do it. We'll never waste your time here. In the old medium that I used to work on, not only do they have to waste your time by stretching segments longer than they need to be, or hours or day parts longer than they should be, but how time is also being wasted is just by the medium itself and how it exists. And I'm not here to bash sports talk radio, but Chris Russo, one of the founding fathers of sports talk radio, basically has said, and he did so in an interview on Barrett Sports Media, if something happens at 7 o'clock tonight that's huge, by the time I get out there at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, people might not want to hear about it anymore. In other words, it's already been talked to death. This is why I love being on YouTube. This is why I love doing the podcast, because whenever something that happens that deserves our immediate attention, we can come down here, click go live, and just be in the conversation immediately. And look, I'm not ripping radio. Radio can only exist in the universe in which it lives. And when you are beholden to a day part that falls at a certain time in a 24-hour clock, that's when you come on. I mean, you used to have to wait until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon for me and Ray Ratto, Matt Kolsky. You'd have to wait for it. And there were times where I'm like, God, by the time I get to this microphone, it's going to be an old story. So that's why it's an awful lot of fun to be here. It really is. And I hope you're digging it too. The more we keep putting it down, people keep picking it up, and I appreciate that. Let's get to where are we subscriber-wise here? Where is this experiment right now? This grand experiment is 5,633 subscribers. I can't help but not notice that all 5,633 of you are not watching right now. So if you are, go ahead and hit that like button. Tell a friend about this that you think might like it, and hopefully they'll be here next week clicking like, subscribing, commenting, becoming a straight-up pluser. I heard it's a little bit addictive. At least it seems to be for the early crowd that keeps on coming in. Hey, let's get this to 5,700 by Monday. That would make me very happy. That would make Mrs. Plus happy. Hey, we got a sick kid at home. Maybe it would make Jack happy too. So, he needs to know where his bread is buttered, if you don't mind me saying. Let's see. What do we got? Something that is really not getting talked about nearly as much as it probably should is the fact that we are less than 2 weeks away from an NBA draft, and the Warriors haven't announced who their next general manager is. Now, there's a lot of different directions, but, it's the old, Occam's razor. The easiest explanation is probably the right one. Isn't that what it is? Something like that anyways. Well, it feels like since we've had zero buzz about any candidates being flown in, it feels like since there has been zero broken news by a beat writer in another city who is saying that, person X is going to interview in city Y, like there's been nothing about it. There's been no source from any traveling plans to speak of or anything like that, which just makes me think that this is Mike Dunleavy Jr.'s job. And a lot of people, I can hear your eyes rolling already. I can hear it. I don't know if Mike Dunleavy is going to be good at this. To assume that he's going to be bad at this is totally unfair. Who knows what Mike Dunleavy Jr. will be? Could he absolutely set up to be a yes man and a mouthpiece for Team Lacob, who's really going to be doing it anyways? Yeah, that's a possibility for sure. I would also like to think that there's enough basketball integrity baked into Mike Dunleavy Jr.'s entire life where he wouldn't quite let something that atrocious happen. Mike Dunleavy Jr. is a straight-up basketball lifer. He has spoken more basketball before he reached the NBA in just his family than he has since the NBA basically, used him up, spit him out as a player, and now he has joined Bob Myers as his assistant general manager for years now. And again, because of that, because of his great stock, because of the fact that he's been in this game since birth, basically, he understands the team as it's constructed. He understands the personalities, which range from stoic to delicate on this team. He understands the tone that the last guy set. The last guy, of course, being Bob Myers, because he worked hand in hand with Bob Myers. Let's not judge this move, number one, before it actually happens, because it has not happened. But let's not judge this move when I do think it will happen. And I bet you it's announced early next week that Mike Dunleavy Jr. has officially been promoted. Remember, Bob Myers is still in the building until the end of June. But, it's a story that since nothing has happened in any element of this story, attaching rumors, who it could be, travel plans, interviews, contact made, there's been nothing, which makes me think that this is coming internally. So I think that that's what's probably going to happen. Lots has been made this week, and this is one of those things that we didn't really get to here. Lots has been made this week about Steve Kerr's appearance on the Draymond Green podcast, where Tim Kawakami basically summed it up perfectly when he said, and I'm going to read this to you, because basically Steve Kerr, before I start reading what Tim wrote, he basically was telling Draymond that he was really impressed with the fact that nobody on Miami's team ever dobbered down about playing time or sulked. And, when they were pointed at and they checked in, it was just everyone understood that I'm here to do whatever needs to be done. No pouting, no agenda, no sulking. And it felt very much like he was directing these comments at Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga. And based on Draymond Green's smile, I don't think inferring that is too far out of the realm of truth either. It felt like it was I'm talking to these guys without bringing up their names. Tim Kawakami writes, "This was a strange season that continued through the postseason. Why else would Steph Curry feel the need to give a rare speech to the team on the day before Game 7 against Sacramento? So maybe Kerr was sending a not-so-subliminal signal to Poole, Kuminga, or anybody else by praising Heat players. Maybe it wasn't so subliminal. It certainly wasn't the first one he sent." And that's the thing. Without naming names, Steve has sort of been talking about this all year. When he's talking about connectivity, he's not just talking about connectivity on a basketball court. He's talking about connectivity in the way that we deal with each other, the way that we talk with each other, the way that we understand our roles and how they all connect within the framework of a successful team that's got more to accomplish than anybody's personal agendas. There is something there, no doubt about it. Now, anyone who wants to say that there is something that is there that is so damning, you can expect major overhauls. I don't necessarily think that's the case. And honestly, if it were up to me, I wouldn't do it. Now, the only way to lop off a singular player without it being a crucial player, although I do think Jordan Poole is crucial, and I'll make the case for that in just a second, but I really believe that there's been no sign of an unwillingness to spend money from Joe Lacob. And I'd be surprised if we're going into this year with that directive right now. Now, maybe Jordan Poole is traded. Maybe Jonathan Kuminga would be traded. And I would not trade Jonathan Kuminga. There's still so much to learn about him still, so much we do not know. And people will say that, well, what we know about Jordan Poole is enough to now trade him. He gets a little daubered down. He had a really weird year. Obviously, the punch, him and Draymond, there's history. There was Steph Curry, visible frustration. Klay Thompson, visible frustration with some of the choices that Jordan Poole made in the playoffs and in the season. And I'm not begrudging anyone's criticism of Jordan Poole. Players, fans who want to talk about what a defensive liability he is, he has opened himself for all of those punts to land directly on him. He has. I wouldn't give up on Jordan Poole. I just wouldn't. He's a guy who played every single game last season. Postseason too. He averaged, and what we all agree was kind of a bad year for him. He averaged 20 points, 4.5 assists, and 3 rebounds per game. He'll turn 24 next month. He's still a baby in this league. Now he's making big boy dollars now, which is going to push the Warriors into a level of Joe Lacob could be uncomfortable with it for the first time in the franchise's, luxury tax situation where he just says, all right, enough is enough is enough. But I really think, if you ask me what needed to happen, and I was talking with Larry Krueger and Cyrus about this the other day, what I think really needs to happen, and this is going to sound like the exact opposite of trading Jordan Poole, I think Jordan Poole needs to be put in the starting 5, and Klay Thompson needs to go to the bench. That's what I think needs to happen. I think that makes the Warriors a better team instantly. It's a more of a buy-in from Poole. It's allowing Klay to not just have a great February, but hopefully he can, with less workload, summon the Klay Thompson that we used to know more frequently. And the key, I think, is not who the Warriors draft or who they might trade to then move up in this draft to take, because we have seen time and time again, Steve Kerr is not in love with the idea of playing young players. The player that they need to draft this year can't be a young project. He's got to be ready to play on some level, but not more than the level of Patrick Baldwin Jr., Moses Moody, and the young guys on this team that need to take a step forward, and that to me is Jordan Poole as well. There are no questions about this guy's work ethic. Well, there might be some questions about his attitude. He's 23. How many questions could we have brought up about your attitude when you were 23? Certainly plenty were brought up about me when I was 23. How's that attitude doing? But no one could ever question my work ethic. You can't question that about Jordan Poole either. To me, that means something. He'll be 24 years old next month. To just assume that this guy's instantly going to have everything together and operate on the highest level of professionalism is wishful thinking. You'd like it to happen, but everyone operates kind of on their own timeline. I'm not making excuses for Jordan Poole. He's just a real NBA scorer. And I think in a league where scoring is at a premium more than defense, just straight up, and that's the way this league is now rolling, it's tough to walk away from a kid who's not even 24, giving you 20 a night, who's been in your system since the day he was drafted. It's only money, Joe Lacob. It's a lot of money, but it's only money. And God, have the Lacobs made an awful lot of money off the backs of the Golden State Warriors. So I'd keep it rolling. The mission is simply this: try to get Steph to one more NBA Finals. That's it. That's the mission. That's all that matters. We got some weekend baseball. Weekend baseball starting tonight. Like I said, I'm wearing a Cubs t-shirt. There is no coincidence there. The Cubs are in town. Marcus Stroman against Anthony DeSclafani taking on the Giants tonight. I was reading ESPN's baseball power rankings, a column I usually avoid. Power rankings to me, that's about football. That'll be about the Big Ten conference or something like that. Those are the power rankings I'm interested in. I'm not a big baseball power rankings guy. But the ESPN power rankings of the San Francisco Giants kind of nailed it. They did. They said the middle-of-the-pack Giants have a middle-of-the-pack offense, one devoid of stars and long on interchangeability. This doesn't mean they can't win, but it doesn't mean the real MVP of the organization might be whoever writes the marketing copy that effectively makes this team look sexy. Harsh? Yeah, probably. In other words, there's a lot more to sell than come out and see a big star. It's, don't you love this team? Don't you love this town? Don't you love baseball? But they do have some young, interesting pieces now. They really do. I think that saying that the Giants are devoid of star power is true. To say that they lack a lineup that is devoid of interest, or they have a lineup that's devoid of interest, that to me is not true. I'm interested in the rookies. I'm interested in J.D. Davis. Lamont Wade Jr. is pretty damn good. Estrada is having a hell of a year. There are interesting pieces as long as you're a Giants fan who is interested in these pieces. But to the casual baseball fan, the fans that they need to make sure there are 30,000 people in there each and every night, yeah, the team's devoid of that. There's no doubt. And the star power that they chased after in the preseason, in the offseason, I should say, didn't land. That's why it was one of the more embarrassing off seasons. But look, Haniger can hit a little. Hopefully he stays healthy. They're interesting. How about this? I don't even know if they're interesting. They're not uninteresting. I'll give the Giants that much. They're not an uninteresting baseball team. Meanwhile, the power ranking continues. Right now, the Giants' top three in runs created are Lamont Wade Jr., Thairo Estrada, and J.D. Davis. Certainly, this speaks to the organization's ability to help externally acquired players become the best version of themselves. Wade has exemplified this. He entered the season having struck out more times, more than twice as often as he's walked in his career. In this season, his walks and strikeouts are about even. He's become a plus 400 OBP standout, so, he's getting better. And it looks like this team is getting back to the idea of coaching up the talent that it has, which is good. Nevertheless, though, somehow a franchise that featured Mel Ott, Willie Mays, Barry Bonds, and so many other generational star hitters needs to locate its next one. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt that this Giants team would look a lot better for a lot of reasons, baseball reasons, marketing reasons, casual fans watching reasons, if there were a star in the lineup, which is why they tried to add one. And why they didn't, that's a story I'm tired of talking about. The Cubs, meanwhile, they're a weird team. That's just a weird baseball team. They've lost 4 in a row. They're 10 games under 500, but their run differential is only -8, which means it's not like they've been getting blown off the field. Dansby Swanson's been a good addition. Cody Bellinger was hitting .271 with 7 home runs, having the season that the Dodgers thought he would never have again until he went on the injured list. So a couple of middling baseball teams at it tonight in a gorgeous yard. So I'm going and I'm looking forward to it. Meanwhile, the A's bring their 14 wins to Milwaukee. Woo! Should they get a win this evening, they'll have their first 3-game winning streak of 2023. Oh, my God. The first 3-game winning streak today is June 9th. It's a great day to go and get a sandwich at Ike's. My man Ike is serving up delicious sandwiches to you from many locations. Go get yourself one. And on Thursday next week, I'll be at the grand opening of the Brentwood location with Ike. It's going to be a fun day. Come on out. There's going to be deals galore on what is Tim Lincecum's birthday. Just throwing that out there. Maybe it's involved in the promotion. I also want to thank, and I will be into a bottle of blackened whiskey at some point this weekend. I like a little nip on a Friday or Saturday night. Little nightcap with the wifey wife. Oh, yeah. You want to throw a rock in there? You want to get out the cask condition, which will singe your nose hairs a little bit, but you sip it neat, and it's really nice. I love blackened whiskey. We're going to show you that degree of love when I carry it like this when we get to Club Plus. And I certainly love the sponsor that joined us this week. A great first week for Uncle Boys. We certainly hope it's been great for Uncle Boys. I've seen so many listeners show how great they are. So many viewers have already gone and patronized. They've gone and got a burger at Uncle Boys. It's a delicious cheeseburger in the inner rich. Yeah, patronize. Patronize. It sounds like they're condescending or something, but no. They're patrons and they're showing up and they're doing business. It is fantastic. It is a locally owned one restaurant burger joint. It's on Balboa and 4th in the inner rich. If you're out this weekend, when you go in there, tell them you're a Plusser. Tell them that you watched the Damon Bruce show. They'll want to hear that. They'll want to hear that we sent you in there, and go in there and spend some money and tip generously and get your burger to go and get your onion rings, and you'll be really happy you did. It is the official cheeseburger of the Damon Bruce show, baby. Damon Bruce Plus Army, down with Uncle Boys. And I absolutely love that. Thanks to all of you. I've been getting videos. I'm reposting it. Hey, when you get a bottle of whiskey, a sandwich from Mike's, or a burger from Uncle Boys, hit me on social media. I want to amplify that. I want to put that out there. I also want to amplify what a rolling clown show the Las Vegas A's experiment has begun with, if this is indeed going to happen at all. The A's do not have the votes through 2 days of special sessions in Nevada, so guess what they're doing? They're sending everyone home this weekend, and they'll be back at it on Monday. The governor is trying to ram this shit through, and I just do not know why, because they're trying to amend the language, tack on a little pork that might make a no vote, turn it into a yes vote. If the A's will agree to this, now all of a sudden you'll agree to vote yes on it. I'm telling you, Nevada, don't fall for it. Every single person whose instincts are telling them this don't look right to me, this should be a no-go, follow those instincts. Don't let them invent a sentence or two of bullshit that will change your minds. Follow your instincts. Vote no. It should be a unanimous no vote, to be completely honest with you. That's how bad the presentation was. We had Ben Ross, who covers this, on yesterday, and neither of us could illuminate a single thing that the A's have done well in this process. And again, remember, this is a process that they're very used to. This is a process that they're familiar with. When it comes to begging for money or trying to get a stadium done, they've done it so many times. You'd think that they'd at least be practiced up on it by now. Nope. God, they're bad at this. They're bad at this. I want to talk a little bit about the big story in sports that came from the golf course with LIV and the PGA Tour deciding to, well, they're not partners. Saudis bought the PGA Tour. That's what happened. It's hard for me to not feel like a sacrificial lamb. That's from Rory McIlroy, who says he hates LIV Golf, but has come to terms with it as he rationalizes and reconciles the new world of professional golf in real time. Calls for the commissioner to resign have been very loud. One player suggested it's time to get over 9/11. Like, that's how the week's gone. That's how the week's gone. It's a very weird week, but that's what happens when you take dirty money and then everything and everyone around that dirty money becomes compromised. That's what happens. Great job. Great job. You know what I would do if I were Tiger Woods? And if I were Tiger Woods, I wouldn't be beholden to the PGA Tour or how much I used to love it, because that is no longer what you used to love. If I were Tiger Woods, knowing that I don't have much professional golf association golf left in me, I would resign. I would call for resignations across the board. I wouldn't shame any remaining PGA member, but if I were him, I'd just say, I'm done. I'm good. I don't need to be in business like this with these cats anymore. Tiger if he were to have that press conference and burn the bridge down at that press conference, do you realize that in his career, you'd never hear anything about a Perkins hostess again? Like Tiger, he's pretty much all the way back as it is. But the amount of love for Tiger Woods would just explode. Absolutely explode. I know the chat room is officially exploding. The first man in today was the postman from Capitola who said, "Send it in, Jerome." I can prove that. Send it in, Jerome. Let's Plus. Thank you very much. Postman. True Blue Forever, before the show started today, said that he was listening to the Nevada Assembly, and it's hilarious. Goes on to say, I love how they're including playoff games in the A's Vegas projections. Yeah, that's a little bold, right? The team has got 14 wins right now, and they're talking about how, yeah, the playoffs are coming. Come on. I mean, a few years from now, go to worst to first, but that can happen. It just can't happen with John Fisher, who is the problem and is the only problem with the A's. Not their fans, not even really their stadium. That's why I'm going to be at the Coliseum on Tuesday next week, joining the We're Showing Up boycott. I love it. It's going to be good. We will take video. We'll share it with you the next day. We might even go live from the bleachers if we have the Wi-Fi capability to do so. We all know that that's a big question mark over there, shall we say. Today is Secretariat Day, by the way, not Secretary's Day, Secretariat Day, 45 years ago today. And I truly urge you, if you have not seen the footage of Secretariat at the Belmont, to watch it. Watch it this afternoon. It's remarkable. 45 years ago today, Secretariat won the Belmont by about 25 lengths. It might be, it truly may be, until we saw some incredible finishes in the Poole recently where, what was it, Lily King was finishing her 4,000 meters ahead of, the person was a full 30 seconds behind her in second place. 45 years ago today, Secretariat won the Belmont with a time of 2 minutes and 24 seconds, which is officially a record that will never be broken. He was cruising. I know it's hard to sell you on black and white grainy horse racing footage, but believe me, it's worth watching. And the call from the track announcer, Secretariat, like a glorious machine, or whatever, like a superb machine, like an incredible machine, whatever it is such a great call, and you got to see it. It's really good. If you're a sports buff, these are things you care about. Again, if you're a sports buff, you probably don't watch a lot of hockey, but when it comes to the Stanley Cup, you're willing to tune in, right? I mean, it's the Stanley Cup. The championship round of Tiddlywinks is something that I would turn into. After laying 2 eggs in Vegas, the Florida Panthers rallied in dramatic fashion to win Game 3 on their home ice. Panthers are now 7-0 in overtime this postseason. Vegas is up 2-1 and looked like they were going to be inviting Broomhilda to take home the Stanley Cup for one night this offseason. But Broomhilda will not be on ice skates. No Broomhilda on ice. Game 4 is Saturday night. So little something to watch Saturday night. Hopefully you're interested in that. Like I said, a coughing at home from school, little under the weather Jack today. Seriously, he is coughing like a 3-pack-a-day smoker, deep lungs. So 2 things to wrap up a show before we get into Club Plus. The condescending headline of the week that I really wanted to get to earlier this week, but didn't. I got to get it in here right now. This was an article about Victor Wembanyama and what his summer looks like, and it was on ESPN, and it said the NBA is fine with Victor Wembanyama's debut happening in Sacramento. I'll explain. He'll be playing in the French League Final starting this weekend, and then the San Antonio Spurs will almost certainly make him the number 1 pick in the NBA draft on June 22nd. And ESPN says That means the French star's Summer League debut comes in Sacramento instead of Las Vegas in early July, and the NBA is fine with that. How condescending. What do you mean the NBA is fine with that? They damn well better be. That is a league-sanctioned summer league. What do you mean the NBA is fine with that? What, they can't position it as super cool because it's not happening in Las Vegas and it is happening in Sacramento? Who the hell wrote this story? The NBA is fine with that. I'm sorry, Sacramento. You deserve better. Light the beam. Light the beam. That's bullshit. It really is. The story continues. While the NBA Summer League in Vegas is the biggest with all 30 teams in attendance and commands the most attention, there are smaller summer leagues that precede the Vegas event by a few days, and Sacramento plays host to one of those events, and the Spurs are one of the 6 teams heading there. Why would you ever sell it as anything other than, this is Victor Wembanyama's debut. Who cares where it is? It's on a basketball court that the NBA is affiliated with. That's what matters, not, it should happen in Vegas. It'd be a lot cooler if it were. Why? Why would it be cooler in Vegas? So you go play blackjack? Hand jobs would be easier? Why would it be cooler in Vegas? What makes Vegas cooler just in terms of I'm at home watching a debut on a basketball court? It's ridiculous. And here's how the whole thing should have been positioned. Not only are the Spurs headed there, but so is Charlotte. And guess who's got the number 2 pick? And guess what the first game of this Summer League schedule happens to be up in Sacramento? It's San Antonio versus Charlotte. So you're going to get the number 1 pick in the NBA draft versus the number 2 pick in the NBA draft right out of the rip. How is that not the lead headline? How is that not in the lead paragraph? Not, the NBA's fine with Sacramento. Who the hell wrote that? Look, I'm not going to go as far as to say, I roll with you, Sacramento. I'm down here in San Francisco. You wish you were. But I'm not here to disrespect Sacramento. Sacramento's a great town. Fun basketball team again, and the NBA is more interesting when the Kings are good. So I'm happy about that. Light the beam. I'm pro-Sacramento. I'm certainly not anti-Sacramento, but the douchebag who wrote that story sure seemed to be. Rolling with the sack. Speaking of rolling with the sack, when it comes to sacks of weed, I've been doing that since about high school. You know, I know what I'm doing in that department, and Uncle Damon's got a little advice for someone who clearly needs it. The headline in the Washington Post was, bothered by pot smell, she sues her neighbor to stop smoking and won. I'll read you the story, and then I'll tell you what should have happened. A D.C. judge has ruled that a man who smokes medicinal marijuana, there's our first mistake. What do you mean medicinal marijuana? We know why you're smoking marijuana. It ain't medicinal. I'll tell you why you're smoking marijuana.
It's to get high, man. That's why you're smoking the weed, man.
Come on. A D.C. judge has ruled that a man who smokes medicinal marijuana in his apartment must stop after a neighbor complained that the odor from his marijuana crept into her home and caused a nuisance. What, can't you go buy some Febreze? A Glade plug-in? I don't like what you're doing, so I have to ruin it. All right. Well, you know right away that the neighbor next door who's complained that the judge ruled in favor of has to be an awful person just based on the name alone. Josefa Ippolito Shepard. There's no one in the history of the earth been Josefa Ippolito Shepard who hasn't been a huge pain in the ass. Like that, you know you're getting a huge pain in the ass. Wait, what's the name of the new neighbor? Josefa Ippolito Shepard? Doesn't sound cool. Just it doesn't sound cool. By the way, did you notice the performance? I looked over here as if I were talking to someone asking a question. This is a full performance on the YouTube channel. Oh, hold on. I got to get this down. There you go. Anyways, Judge Ebony Scott ruled Monday this week that while Josefa Ippolito Shepard could not prove she is entitled to damages, which she also tried to get, the smell is a private nuisance. And Scott ordered Thomas Cackett to stop smoking. Thomas Cackett is the smoker here in this story. Scott said that Cackett is licensed to buy marijuana, but he does not possess a license to disrupt the full use and enjoyment of one's land. Indeed, the public interest is best served by eliminating the smoke nuisance and the toxins as it deposits into the air. Toxins that involuntary smokers have no choice but to inhale, Scott writes in her decision. All right. So you're not inhaling cigarette smoke if the guy next door is smoking weed. You might not like the smell. It might be a little skunky, but come on. You're in no health danger. You're in no immediate danger at all, Josefa Ippolito Shepard. But look, weed can stink. There's ways around that, by the way. And this is where Cackett, who has now been banned from smoking at his address or within 25 feet of Ippolito Shepard's address, should have called Uncle Damon, because there is something that people who have been partaking for as long as I have know about. And it's called a spoof. Does this guy not know what a spoof is? I'm not even kidding. My roommate and I in college, Roman Mendez, we used to have a spoof hanging from the ceiling. Hanging from the ceiling. Damon, what is a spoof?
Hey, Damon, what's a spoof? I'm glad you asked. A spoof is when you take an empty cardboard toilet paper tube, you put one dryer sheet on the end of it, you put a rubber band around that dryer sheet, and then in the toilet paper tube, you stuff more dryer sheets in it. You can use whatever dryer sheets you want. You want Gain? Go with Gain, man! You want Snuggles? Who doesn't like Snuggles? Who doesn't like Snuggles? Go with that. You put it all in the tube, you smoke your weed, you blow it through the tube, and it comes out smelling like laundry. Good God.
These kids don't know. These kids don't know. Get a spoof. And that's how we end this Friday broadcast. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you very, very much. If you're here on YouTube, we'll hop right into Club Plus here and read your comments. I would imagine the spoof section inspired many comments, so we're going to get to that. Thank you so much for tuning in all this week. We'll be back on Monday with another podcast. We'll be dropping some videos and some things over the weekend as well for you to enjoy. So thank you, as always, for stopping on by. Damon Bruce Plus, not Damon Bruce Spoof, Damon Bruce Plus. Thank you very, very much. And please do remember that sports don't build character, they reveal it. And like that, he's gone. You ready to get sexy? Yeah. 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 R.I.P. Cougar Rebel says, Damon, are you staying post-game for the Bay Area hip-hop drone show?
There's a drone show?
Actually, I knew about that. Yes, I did. I might. I might. Depends on how tired my old manness gets me, what the game is, what the situation is. But yeah, there's an E40 drone show. I've never seen a drone show. I'm not uncurious, shall we say? Going back to what was said by Chris Russo, he basically says you can be more nimble and relevant on YouTube, and you can be timely. And that is really, I think, the secret ingredient to how we consume media now more than ever before. You don't even care necessarily where it comes from or who it comes from, as long as you've got it now. Luckily, I am someone who will bring it to you now. Let's see what we got. R.I.P. Cougar Rebel saying the Warriors' next GM is Lacob. Look, there's no doubt that Joe is involved. But I don't think he is so into his own thinking that he is going to just be vetoing advice from the GM that he hires. I don't think that Joe Lacob deserves the tyrannical basketball fuss budget that he's not Jerry Jones. Not yet anyways. So calm down. Let things happen before everyone talks about they know what's going to happen. JJ Rader, do you think that they announced the new GM before or after the draft? I think they got to announce it before, right? Rodfather, very good suggestion. Where your bread is buttered could be a sandwich name at Ike's. That's good. That's good, Rodfather. It is. I like that an awful lot. Let's see here. Let's see. What do we got? We got a lot of people talking about the sandwiches that they like. I like that an awful lot. A lot of people saying hello to each other. I like that an awful lot. Look, I love that you're all talking to each other, but now I got to sift through this, and I don't have a producer, and I got to just scan and go and scan and go and scan and go and scan and go. This is Mr. Bridge 44. Doesn't the bag that Poole received come with an elevated expectation and effort outside of his age? I mean, yeah, I guess you could start applying that. You could just say, you're now this because you're being paid that. And that's in many ways fair. But 24 is still very young as a professional athlete. It really is. 24 is still young in a life. So for this guy to have the skills that he does, yet some maturity issues or choices that he makes that drive some people nuts, I would still incubate that. I wouldn't just be willing to walk away from it. If you're, look at it this way, if you are walking away from Jordan Poole, you better be trading him not just for money-saving reasons, but basketball reasons. I mean, that's the way it's got to go. If this team, you can't salary dump and return to the NBA Finals all in 1 year. You can't. It's going to be a fascinating couple weeks for the Golden State Warriors. This is not a bad point, Terry G. Thank you so much. Everyone talks about Green and Poole playing together, but the Warriors' problem is they're playing Clay and Poole $75 million to play the same position. Look, you need a backup. The problem is Clay Thompson can't be paid what he wants to be paid going forward because he's just not that player anymore. I would move Clay Thompson before I move Jordan Poole. Don't say that out loud. It'll get me in trouble. But I would. It's just, you talk about age mattering. Age matters in both directions then, doesn't it? I just think that trading Poole would be a little bit of a mistake. Postman in Capitola says, love you, D. Bruce, but I think you're dreaming to have Clay come off the bench. Too much respect from the Dubs to not have him be a starter. Look, it's not about respect. It's about results. And it's about what's good for him. If load management, if getting more than a good month of February out of Clay Thompson can be extracted by asking him to play the sixth man, he should be willing to do it. You got to realize there is an evolution to a career. And what his career has been through, the fact that it's even going on right now is, kind of a miracle. It really is. He's still a good player. He's not a great player. He's just not. He's going to have a great night or two along the way. Do you ask a good player to give you more great nights from the bench or as a starter? I think you get more great nights out of Clay coming off the bench, and then all of a sudden that second unit doesn't have a scoring problem. Also, you get the most dialed in, best version of Jordan Poole whenever he starts. If Clay, who is very proud and has an ego, but if Clay is the most hands-off, doesn't need to be managed Golden State Warrior of all time, This would be a hell of a time to prove it. This would be a hell of a time to prove it by just saying, yeah, coach, I'll do whatever you need me to do. Looking for 3 in a row in Milwaukee, break up the Oakland Athletics. If I were the state of Nevada, I'd be breaking up with the Oakland Athletics before we even had a first date. What a clown show that is. Damon, when you say cask conditioned, are you referring to cask strength? Yes. Yes, I am. Is cask conditioned, is that a little bit more of a beer term? I think it's more of a beer term, but yes, the cask strength. Extra booziness and flavor notes. Yeah, where is our boy T from the 203 and his hot yoga instructor story? True Blue Forever, that's a great question. I'm going to continue to stroll, and maybe he is here. Oh, by the way, also from yesterday, Marcus, or Mitch, I should say. Mitch, not Marcus. I don't know if Mitch is in here today, but Mitch left a very nice jingle-jangle $10 donation right as I was ending the show, and I didn't get time to thank you for it, Mitch. Please tell Mitch I said thanks if he's not here today, because I want to thank everyone for being generous when they're generous with me, and I want to thank everyone when they're being generous with my sponsors. That's why I'm asking you to take a picture, put it up on social media, and I'll share it. Coach Saucedo. Keeping it real, Damon. That's what we're trying to do. It's what we're trying to do. Joseph. I'm just going to go with Joseph. The Brewers' retractable worth needs about $450 million in reservations, and baseball is threatening to move the Brewers if they can't get it done. All I can tell you is that is the same deal that the Fishers are asking Nevada to take, that any further upgrades to the stadium will not be paid for by the guy and the billionaire who owns the team, but by the state that he has already taken money from and will ask more money from when it comes time to upgrade the stadium after their original lease is agreed to. That, to me, is a huge poison pill. A huge poison pill. And a reason to not do it. AJ Cruz 75. The LIV PGA debacle, proof that Ted DiBiase was right and everyone has a price. Yeah. Again, I've never had to compromise anything for a price point, but I wonder what mine would be. Everyone's got one. Everyone's got one. I mean, what would the ask be, and then what would the price be? The bigger the ask, the bigger the price, obviously. I'm glad I'm not in position to find out. Let me see what else we got coming up here on the chat right now. The Rodfather, John Fisher. It's Fisher, by the way. I don't think there's a C. I don't even know. I've spelled his name so many times, I don't even care. John Fisher should just build a stadium on Lake Mead because that shit is dead on arrival. Yeah, just drown it. Hey, Lake Mead is kind of dead on arrival these days. When Jillian and I a couple of years ago and this was in the middle of the pandemic, we were out in Palm Springs. We had rented kind of a crappy house to just change the walls, and it wasn't good weather in Palm Springs, so we got in a car and we drove to Henderson, Nevada to hang out with the Fortenbaugh. It was like only a 3-hour drive away. And we went to, because I've been to Vegas, dozens of times, and I've always said, I'm going to check out Hoover Dam one day. And of course, you never leave the Strip. You and your buddies are too busy being in Las Vegas to go to the fucking Hoover Dam. But with my family, with just me and Jillian visiting the Fortenbaugh, I'm like, this is the time. I'm going to Hoover Dam. Hoover Dam is incredible, by the way. It's incredible. What a piece of structural, electrical, or engineering architecture that is. It's incredible. Lake Mead it's like almost not even there. There's so much of a drastically drop in the water line. Just the times that we are living in, man. Times that we are living in. You got the orange East Coast sky. People are like, oh, no, there's no climate change. Sure. We got John saying, I'm heading to Ike's in San Jose for a Matt Cain. There you go, John. That's what I'm talking about. I like that. Like that an awful lot. Michelle Haberman says, Damon, I'm so sad I can't go to the A's game with y'all on Tuesday. I got a global meeting all next week. Well, that sounds like a big meeting if it's covering the entire globe. Leave it to Sporticus to correct my incorrect racing length for Secretariat. 31 lengths, setting a record that stands today, one of the best moments in sports history. Secretariat is moving like a tremendous machine. Thank you, Sporticus, for the full correction. And this is also true from Bryant. He says, horse racing feels so dirty now, full of Bob Baffert's doping, horses breaking down, straight up putting down horses. Oh, there's no doubt that greed in medicine is running these horses beyond their bodies' capabilities of supporting them. And that's why you had so many horses dying, before the Derby. There's blood on the hands of that sport too, but it's the blood of horses. You got to compromise some things to pretend you like horse racing. There's no doubt. No doubt. Irwin, wishing a little get better, Jack. Thank you very much, Irwin. Drew Down saying that put a little respect on Sacramento's name. Exactly. You got to, man. Little honey and lemon. Thank you very much, Ray Lord. That does. But here's the thing. The problem with Jack's cough, it is not in his throat. It is in his lungs. You can just hear, Ginger ale helps as well. Yeah, I'm a big ginger ale guy. Damon, the Send It In Jerome soundbite reminds me that Carlo, who would always call in during the Tuesday trifecta. Yeah, I did. I love me some Tuesday trifecta. I wish we could just take calls here as easily as we did at a radio station, and we'd bring it back up. Maybe we'd do it over the chat. I don't know, but
Send it in, Jerome.
That's one of my favorite calls in the history of TV sports broadcasting. Hey, I didn't think of this. Rodfather. Maybe the NBA wants Victor Wembanyama in Vegas for the groundbreaking of the new A's stadium. That's pretty good. That's good. I like that an awful lot. Oh, now we're getting into the spoof portion of the chat. I can see we have finally caught up here. The neighbor was pissed since he didn't puff puff give. Maybe that was it, but again, there's no way. There's no way that everything about her screamed, I'm not cool. Everything about her screamed, I just ain't cool. Rodfather again. Joseppa, Bible thumper. Maybe. Although I know a lot of practicing Catholics who roll it up and put it in the air. Very good question from Mr. Bridge. Could our toker not be consuming the ganja, owing to pain medication? Weird to take a swing at the world of medicinal. Come on. I've never met a person who was on medicinal marijuana for the medicinal side effects of marijuana. Never. Not once. Have you? I mean, maybe, there's palliative weed for some people that they give them at their end of their life care. That to me is medicinal marijuana. There are some people who do have trouble with gaining appetites. Maybe that is medicinal marijuana. Maybe it helps some people fall asleep. That's great. Do you know why most people smoke marijuana?
I do. I know why. It's because they want to get high, man. They just want to relax a little bit, and maybe there's a medicinal property to that. But come on.
The fact that I used to pick up a medicinal marijuana card above Amoeba Records on Haight Street is all you really ever needed to know about the medicinal marijuana give and take. B. Paul, speaking of give and take, little soundboard love. Throwing a 5 spot in there, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. JJ Rader says the weed smell is nothing compared to my neighbors who still use their chimney. It smells like they burn trash. That is disgusting. If your chimney smells anything other than a gorgeous fire, something's wrong in there. Yeah, you should not be burning trash in your own fireplace. That's gross. And I would agree with this. Weed smells better than cigarettes. To me, a skunk smells better than cigarettes. So, yeah, cigarettes to me, it's just one of the grossest things out there. But here's the deal. When someone starts smoking a cigarette, you don't see me getting all huffy and puffy about it. It's just part of life. What are you going to do? Feel free to shut up. Mind your own business. I always invite people to do that. Here's an option you might not have considered. Shut up. Mind your own business. It's great advice. I wish more people would take it. It's a spoof, not a boof, or someone saying it's a boof, not a spoof. Believe me, it was called a spoof where I'm from. Where I'm from, the way my poppy taught me, no, it's a spoof. It's a spoof. Don't boof it. Oh, by the way, here is Mitch. Mitch, you were the guy who left a nice little tip, $10 yesterday, right as I was ending the show. I didn't get to say thank you, Mitch. Thank you very much. And he says, I love stoner engineering. It's the only engineering degree that I have. But yeah, MacGyver got nothing on you, Damon. I'm telling you. Look, how did you get away with things in high school? You need a spoof. Again, toilet paper roll. Take one sheet of dryer sheet, tape it to the end, stuff the roll with more dryer sheets, blow out. It smells like a lovely load of laundry. Totally covers it up. I'm telling people about that. How do you people not know about this? That works? Yes, it works. It works. My college roommate and I sold weed out of our dorm room. Our dorm room was next to our RA. He never knew. The spoof. The spoof won. Damon, this is a great show. Thank you, Mike. I'm just trying to help. Just trying to help. And Michael.
The uninitiated do not know how to talk. Luckily, I was born in the ganja jar. You were merely raised there.
Damon, what time is that Ike's shindig? So I think I'm going to be up there from like 3 to 6 o'clock. I'm going to then tell you not to hold me to it, but that is sort of the plan. We're going to get up there in that you're getting out of work, looking to pick up a little something for dinner. And so that's when I plan on being there. It is indeed E40 drone night. Yeah. Spoofs on the Ploose talk. Thank you very much. No, we have no hot yoga instructor, Michael T. from the 203 update. He is not here today. Hopefully he gets back to us on Monday. We do need conclusion on that story. Oh, True Blue, thank you very much. Jingle Jangle. Good time. His meeting just ended. Got in for Club Ploose. Thank you very much, True Blue. Very, very nice of you. Do appreciate it. Let's see what we got. Oh, boy. Now, here's the thing. If you're trying to save money, please bring LeBron. That's going to be tough to do. Damon, what are your thoughts on Zion? FME TV Network. First of all, FME TV Network, I've never seen your name here in the chat before, so welcome. Nice that you've joined. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I would appreciate that. My thoughts on Zion are put a rubber on. Definitely want to put a rubber on. That's my advice to Zion. That's my advice for Zion. Gonna want to wrap that up, man. Now, he's having a kid with a woman he apparently has a relationship with. The burn down and the drama, the tea being spilled from the OnlyFans level porn star that has, by the way, so if you're on OnlyFans, you just are in pornography. You're not a porn star. Take that from Uncle Damon. If you've never had to, look at it this way. If your porn set is always your own bedroom, you ain't a star yet, sweetie. But anyway, I digress. Apparently, Zion was also banging this OnlyFans model, and he was raw dogging it. And she has now heard about the gender reveal with the woman that he is actually with. And like so many great players, the girl who was the side chick thought she was the main chick. And then she found out explicitly with a gender reveal party that she ain't the main chick. And so she's come for her online revenge. So discretion, the better part of valor. Discretion. D. Bruce, am I the only person who thinks Klay Thompson had a good season last year with a poor playoff performance? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it a good season. It was all right. Here's the thing. For Klay Thompson, to be Klay Thompson, the defense has to roll hand in hand with the offense. The offense wasn't there. And Klay did have a good year from three, but he was awful from everywhere else on the court. And the imbalance of that, well, he hit the most amount of threes in the NBA, which sounds great and is great, but he was pretty bad everywhere else on the court, if we're being completely honest. He had a smoking hot month of February. The rest of it was, Mitch again coming in. And Mitch, thanks again for the deposit yesterday for the jingle jangle. I really hope this attempt to move to Vegas fails and they end up costing Fisher money. Fuck him. Yeah, dude, what would happen? I just want to see what has to happen if they come back with their tails between their legs, skulking back to Oakland with nowhere to go. It would be fascinating. Oh, man, I kind of hope it happens. Let's see here. What do we got? Oh, Drew down. Puff, puff, plus. Thank you very much. Hey, Damon, do you enjoy some medicinal blackened whiskey? Yes, indeed. Indeed, I do. Indeed, I have. No, we do not let Jack in the ganja jar. He's playing sick. He's hanging out. I'll tell you what Jack does love, though.
He loves this. I had him down here the other day playing with this, and he really likes
this one, too. Jack really likes this because for the first time in his life, he sounds like a monster or a bad guy or an adult, and so Jack likes that. Fair enough. I learned it from you, Dad.
I remember. I remember.
Here's the thing. I don't smoke around the boys, but they're also growing up in San Francisco, so there's nothing to hide either. The number one way to make someone curious about something is to make it a mystery. So the city of San Francisco has basically removed all mystery from the concept of marijuana. Look at it this way. Jack has been to fish shows. I rest my case. Thank you very much, Rob C. Are you going to the Sunday's Cubs game too? Rob, I'm not. I don't have a hall pass on Sunday, but I got one this Friday night, so I'm heading tonight. Ooh, Mitch coming back over the top again with the super chat. If people just learn how to shut the fuck up and mind their own business, the world would be such a better place. Indeed. Sporticus and Spoof, he's gone. Sporticus getting in there. I love it. Drone show. I didn't even think about the damn drone show. Didn't even think about it. Yeah, I always thought this too. Your RA had to know what was going on. Either that or they thought you obsessed over laundry. You know what he was? Our RA was basically never present. I would describe our RA on my dorm floor as a theater kid. So, like, he was always a floor up or down, just hanging out with the girls on the girls' floor. And so he was never really around the floor that I was on, which was made up of guys on the Indiana football team, just normal students, and guys on the Indiana wrestling team. It was a crazy floor. He probably got out of there just to be like, I can't control this. That shit was nuts. Oh, by the way, speaking of Indiana football, when UCLA and USC join the Big Ten, Indiana's coming to play at UCLA in 2024. And then in 2025, USC is traveling to Bloomington to play at IU. The Indiana game at UCLA could be the last time I publicly support Indiana in a football stadium. It's been a rough journey, and I will be giving myself to the dark side. I will be rooting for USC, and I mean it. When USC rolls into Bloomington to roll them by about 50 points, I might show up that day, and all my friends are going to be wearing crimson and cream. They're all going to be wearing Indiana gear, and I'll be in Bloomington. The entire city will be wearing Indiana gear. I swear to God, I'm going to show up wearing an OJ jersey. I swear to God, I'm going to just to piss everybody off. Fight on. Jillian doesn't like this at all, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So, we're looking at the end of the scroll here. I'm reaching the end of the chat, and I'm sure we have also got Mrs. Plus reaching the end of her patience upstairs. USC already has their, that's the thing. So schedules came out. Schedules have come out. Big Ten future schedules are out. I know, huge Oski bear. I know, again, Jillian went to Cal. I know this isn't going to make a lot of people happy. Oh, wait. We will continue. T from the 203. He is here with a yoga update. T, look. Was OJ innocent or guilty? Guilty of being a hell of a running back for my USC Trojans. All right, T from the 203. Again, I need a quick yoga update. What do you got, T from the 203? You got to get it in there quickly. All right, hold on. Here we go. Yoga update. T from the 203. All right, yoga update. Went very well. The yoga teacher wanted to know what I do, and she was asking what I'm dating for and my thoughts on the workout and the favorite part of my girl's body. Yeah, they might be together. There you go. You know what? It sounds like this yoga instructor wants to party with the two of you. Just throwing that out there. Mitch is saying, come on. OJ did that shit. What? Score touchdowns? What are we talking about? Hey, he's still looking for the killer. And until he finds that killer, my man's innocent. Damon with the Freudian slip. What was my Freudian slip? I don't know. Maybe there was a Freudian slip. And boobs. T from the 203. And boob. What was and boobs? What? Oh, is that the favorite body part? All right. That's one. That's. I'm up there too. Well, no. He says his initial response was booty. And boobs. You really can't have one without the other. So there we go. I mean, I think we're going to end it like this. Booty and boobs. What are we talking about? Song girls at USC? See, this is how I get in trouble. I would rather get into trouble having a little fun than pissing people off by, bringing up things that might make half the audience uncomfortable. And I don't think it's half my audience. Never was, never will be. Because I would imagine that people in my audience are curious, they're inquisitive, they might have read a book, they might have gone to school, they might treat people with some dignity and respect when they come across them. Which means you're not down with Donald Trump. Fuck that guy. Here is to treason. Remember, everything I ever told you about the A's, I was right. Remember, everything I ever told you about Donald Trump, I was right. So, espionage doesn't build character, it reveals it. He's innocent until proven guilty. Oh, yeah, he's just, everyone's out to get him. He's done nothing wrong. Clearly a man devoid of corruption. Just an immaculate life, and he's being witch hunted. And I'm done with all of that. Thank you so very, very much. What is this? Damon, quick. The update? What is it? The update. Need to get it in there quick. What happened? What happened? Was there something else? I don't know. Well, the immediacy of the internet means if something big happened, we can come back and just do this again. But in the meantime, I do got to go in and check in on Jack and Jillian, make sure everything's okay. I got a little lunch with a buddy today. I got a Giants and Cubs game tonight, an E40 drone party afterwards. It's a hell of a day. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here today. It meant an awful lot for you to be here each and every day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have yourself a great weekend. And I'm just going to remind you that you don't have to go home. But boys and girls, up in Club Plus, you can't stay here.